We welcome Bridget McNulty, co-founder of the Sweet Life Diabetics community, who assists diabetics throughout South Africa to live a healthy and happy life. Bridget, welcome to Afternoon Express.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
No, I have to touch base with you. Not only are we starting to get more familiar with the process, or rather the condition of diabetics, how it affects someone in their lives and how to live a healthier life, but you are the pro. Not only are you a diabetic yourself, but you essentially wanted to start up an initiative, something that can assist other diabetics. So how did the idea of Sweet Life come up?
So I was diagnosed with diabetes 13 years ago. I have type 1 diabetes. And when I was first diagnosed, I remember they sent me home from hospital with this stack of information, and I read everything. And it told me that I was at greater risk of amputation, blindness, heart failure, kidney disease. And nowhere in anything that I read, and I read everything I could find, nowhere did it say, or you can live a perfectly normal, happy, healthy life with diabetes. You just have to look after yourself.
Wow.
And so a couple of years later, we decided, there was a team of us, and we decided we would start Sweet Life, and we began it as a magazine, a quarterly magazine that we distributed around the country for free for 5 years, and then we moved everything online. So now we have our website, which is sweetlife.org.za, and our Facebook page, Diabetic South Africans. And what's amazing about it being online is that it's a conversation now. So it's not that we're saying like, here's the information, go off and eat the right food. We're saying, hey, how are you doing today? What's driving you nuts? How are you managing your diabetes? What do you want to talk about? And then we're able to find information in answer to those questions.
Wow, and I think that that's what's so crucial and key, and the difference between having a pamphlet, a flyer, and just Googling something on the internet, and having some people that care, a community, a family, who want to check up on you. So you mentioned that you've got type 1 diabetes. So I do believe there's type 1, type 2, and then you can be pre-diabetic. Can you just break down the three conditions?
So type 1 affects about 10% of people, and it used to be called juvenile diabetes because it's diagnosed often in younger people, but now more and more older people are diagnosed. I was diagnosed at 25. You get suddenly very sick, suddenly lose weight, extremely thirsty, super hungry, exhausted, and often end up in hospital or in ICU. I was in ICU for 5 days, and you go onto insulin injections straight away, or an insulin pump. You can't survive without that. If you don't go onto insulin, you fall into a coma. Type 2 diabetes affects 90% of people. And the crazy thing about type 2 diabetes, there's a hereditary link to it, but it's also often called a lifestyle disease because it's related to not exercising enough, carrying too much weight, eating the wrong kind of food. What's insane about type 2 diabetes in South Africa is that it is not a lethal condition at all. It's actually reversible if you catch it early enough, manageable if you catch it later. But Stats SA tells us that type 2 diabetes kills more women than anything else in South Africa, which is horrific. Pre-diabetes is actually just the phase before type 2 diabetes. So it's not often called pre-diabetes in South Africa because there's a complicated reason relating to your HbA1c results. So it's more if you're at risk of type 2 diabetes. And what's amazing about that zone is that if you know you're at risk, you can get an annual blood sugar screening and then take steps to prevent yourself ever getting type 2 diabetes.
It just seems like, Bridget, it's very important to know your body, know what's normal, know what's abnormal, and then act. How important is that? Being able to always check up on your health, know what's going on, and if you catch something abnormal, seek professional advice.
So it's not even, in the beginning stages, it might not even be abnormal. So what we've done is we put together a very short risk factors video that shows you if you're at high risk. The two main ones that everyone should know is if you're over 45 years old, you should be getting an annual diabetes screening. And if you are overweight or obese, you should be getting an annual diabetes screening. Those are the biggest risk factors. But then also if you have a family history, if you have high blood pressure, if you have a heart disease history, if you had gestational diabetes, there's a bunch of other risk factors. But a diabetes screening is so easy. It takes less than 5 minutes. During November, you can often get them for free. Clinics and independent pharmacies are offering them for free. And it's a simple finger prick blood test. You'll know your results right away, and then you know if it's something you need to be aware of.
Wow. So then how important is educating yourself around diabetes? And as Sweet Life, how do you step in?
To me, education is like the magic bullet. So in South Africa now, we all understand this concept of flattening the curve. Diabetes is often called the next epidemic, or the diabetes tsunami, because it's coming and it's going to be terrible. If we know that people are dying of type 2 diabetes unnecessarily, we know that they're having amputations, that they're presenting in hospital when they've already gone blind, it's all completely unnecessary. If we can just catch them at the beginning.
Oh, wow,
So that
Bridget.
instead of it getting hectic, we're catching people when they're not that ill. That makes all the difference. So what we want to do is normalize the conversation around diabetes. We want to say, if you have a family history, get screened. If you're noticing these symptoms, so the common symptoms are extreme hunger, extreme thirst, needing to pee a lot, especially at night, losing weight and it doesn't make sense, and feeling exhausted. But those can be kind of vague symptoms. So we encourage anyone who's even got a niggling like, could that be me, to go and get screened, because once you know, knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
And then you can come to our website, come to our community. We can help you, walk you through the steps of how you need to change your diet and what lifestyle changes you need to make so that it's perfectly manageable. It's not this horrific disease, it's just a manageable condition.
Absolutely. Now, if we were to just step into COVID,
Yes.
you know, that's the conversation right now. And so when we do look at different conditions, illnesses, diseases, we always have to refer it back to COVID-19 and how that can impact your immune system. So how do the two play a part together? Is there a relationship?
There is a strong relationship and we don't know exactly why yet, which is fascinating.
Yes.
So one of the first pieces of information to come out when we were all in panicked lockdown was that diabetes was one of the top risk factors for the severe version of COVID. No one really knows why.
Okay.
And in the beginning, all we knew was diabetes, extra risk, don't leave the house. So everyone was just panicking. We did a lot of reassurance and a lot of education in those early days. And what's amazing is that we have a panel of experts who are some of the top diabetes specialists, and so they fed us the information that we needed right in the beginning.
That was accurate.
That was accurate and timely and not fake news and not
Yes.
going to make people panic. And so the biggest piece of information that we were able to share is that it's largely type 2 diabetes, which doesn't help because that's 90% of people, but it's significantly uncontrolled diabetes. So if your blood sugar is within range and you're managing your condition properly, then COVID is no more of a risk. But if your blood sugar is often over 10, which is fairly easy to happen if you're not controlling your condition that well or if you're struggling with it, then that puts you at a much higher risk. So the message we spread was, do your best, keep your blood sugar in control. That's made more difficult because stress spikes blood sugar.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone was just in a constant state of stress in the beginning. But as regards like COVID-19 and immunity, that's the projected, that's what we think, but there hasn't been enough evidence to show that that is the situation.
Okay. It seems as if education is key, as with every topic in life and every conversation and discussion point in life. So I thank you and the entire team at Sweet Life for not only educating us as outsiders looking in, but also supporting the community of diabetics that are around us every single day. Thank you so much, Bridget.
Thank you very much for having me, and I'd like to encourage anyone who is diabetic themselves or their family and friends, because that also isn't often looked at, is
Yeah.
the support
Support.
structure around. To join us, we're on Diabetic South Africans on Facebook and sweetlife.org.za.
A queen. Well, if you are diabetic or pre-diabetic, you can live a happy, healthy life with great information support by making significant changes to your lifestyle. For more information, please do visit the Sweet Life community. And also, I do have to encourage you to go over to Afternoon Express's social media pages.